Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Back to
Part
you,
two.
Ian. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts that you wanted to wrap us up with?
No, I think ultimately I'm a little disappointed in the season so far. Man, I think with Micah Shrewsbury, obviously this is his third season with us. Have high hopes, and I still think he's the right man for the job. I just feel like Pat Chambers got us to points where we're at. Prior coach got us to points where we were in the same spot as we are now, and we're hoping at this point in Shrew's tenure that we would be a little further along at this point in the season. But yeah, we'll see. Big Ten play is tough. Obviously, it's a gauntlet, and it's about peaking at the right time, and hopefully Penn State can end the year strong. We've played well against the likes of Purdue, had them on the ropes halfway through the second quarter, so we can compete with good teams just putting together for a full 40 minutes. Yeah. And I think that's something we've struggled to do, and it's tough whenever you live and die by the three to put that together for that long of a time.
All right, I got one question. We can do it quickly, or we can talk about it a lot. Right now, projected seedings, Joe Lenardi came out, I believe, 3 days ago. Tennessee's a 1 seed, Arkansas is an 8 seed, and Penn State is part of the last 4 in.
Yeah.
Where does each team end up?
I mean, I think it would genuinely be a disservice. I know it's hard to rank your own team. That's why I'm going to speak towards Tennessee. I think it would genuinely be a disservice to not put them in your Final Four, unless that 2 seed was somehow a matchup nightmare. It depends on what 2 seed do they have there in there, Hank?
2 seed on our side. Let me find it. It is Kansas.
Yeah, I would say I would probably pretty confidently, especially after 20 piecing them early in the season, pretty confidently slate them in the Final Four. It's hard to know if I will after that, but I would, yeah.
Sure. What do you think? And here I'll also clarify my question. Where does each team, does Penn State end up in the tourney? Where does Arkansas?
Seeding wise? Sorry, not length of.
Well, yeah, both too, but the seeding I was thinking more.
Okay. Yes, I think
it's a very hard question. Very hard question because I mean obviously there's a lot of seasons.
I think Tennessee will be a 2 seed. I do. I think Tennessee will be a 2 seed. And it's not that I'm like, oh, they're going to take all these losses. I just think there's some teams that are in some easier conferences that are possibly going to be able to like a Purdue. I think that Purdue probably maintains their 1 seed. I do think Houston probably maintains it. And then, it's going to come up to, and maybe up to that prediction where we were talking about, will it be Alabama or Tennessee? I think it'll be one of them. And then I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Arizona or UCLA for the Pac-12 just grabs that other one just by winning out. Could be wrong. Could be dead wrong.
I think that's a good take. I think it won't be both. I don't think it won't be both SEC.
So one of them will be a 1 and one of them will be a 2. And I mean, I guess I'll just stick with my prediction in that case. We'll just go with Tennessee as a 1, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them as a 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just SEC's tough. It's a gauntlet, man, and especially with it being loaded with the likes of an Arkansas or an Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, it's just tough to go the full distance, and especially whenever you have other conferences that maybe don't have as tough of a gauntlet. I would say Purdue has one of the easier ones, which is surprising to say. Usually Big Ten's tough, but I would say this year Purdue has a pretty easy into the season. So
yeah, agree. Wow. I would wholeheartedly agree there. And I guess to answer your question more on Arkansas, I think I would say we probably slide up a little bit with a ceiling in my eyes at maybe a 6. I think that's possibly what we have the potential to do. And then maybe us slipping to a 9, but I personally find that we'll probably be a 6 or a 7. But I'm an optimist at times, and so we'll see how that pans out. Whereas I hope Penn State gets in. I guess if you're in that last 4 in, you're considered an 11 or a 12, which I think would make sense for them as an 11 or something like that. But I hope they make.
Yeah, I think getting into win for us. I think we haven't been in the tournament. We would have been in the COVID year. We would have been it's amazing how COVID works. We would have been a 3 or 4 seed in the COVID year. Obviously, COVID happens. We don't get to play that tournament. But prior to that, you have to go back all the way to 2011, 2012 since our last visit to the NCAA tournament. So it's been a minute. We played Purdue in our last, 10 to 12 games here. We played Purdue one time, and other than that, we don't play another ranked team. So,
Okay.
that's promising. We have to play the likes of Michigan and Ohio State and Illinois one more time. But, the table's set for us to make a little push here, early February, late March.
Okay.
Yeah. And boys, remind me, with the last 4 in teams, do the 12 seeds play each other to get into the
Yes.
play? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
right now, you guys are slated to play Kentucky in the play-in game.
Mhm.
So
Good.
I hope that
That would be unfortunate for Penn State because Kentucky's definitely trending in the right direction.
I would say it would surprise me if we played them, because I don't think Kentucky is going to be a 12 seed when it's
They'll
all
be
said and
higher.
done.
they'll get in the turn. I don't.
I'll see them being I could see them being a 10 seed or even up to like a 9 seed.
What a nightmare 10 seed if they're a 10 seed.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that might be one of the either way. Arkansas. I think Arkansas can. I think they'll be a 7. I think they won't stay at the 8. I think they'll be a 7.
And that's not a bad spot. That's really not a bad spot.
7's not a bad seed, especially for a team that if they do begin to trend, which they literally have amazing tournament success, especially under Musselman, like that you would be happy with that. I think, especially with an unfortunate start to SEC play.
Yeah, you don't want to be an 8 or a 9 though. You don't want to get that 1 seed matchup.
You don't want to keep. Yeah, you don't want to keep climbing seeding wise. Now, Keenan, I'm not gonna lie. The Nittany Lions, they scare me. I'm looking at the last 11, 6 are away, 5 at home. With a last 4 in position right now, it really scares me. Trust me, I will be rooting for them. You go to Purdue, you go to Ohio State, you play Michigan. I would say the Michigan game on the 29th.
Yeah.
I believe is that Sunday? I believe that game, if you win, you get into the tourney. If you don't get into the tourney. That's what I would say for that game.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I think when Joe brought out that bracketology, I don't know exactly when he last updated that one that you're referencing. I know a week or so ago he had us in, but obviously since then we've fallen, 2 out of our last 3. So maybe a different story here.
Unfortunate Rutgers loss. I don't even think Rutgers isn't even bad this year. It's just
Rutgers is solid. Rutgers is one of the better.
We needed it. We had Wisconsin on the ropes, and we needed that was a closeout game we should have had.
Now it's
tough. Last thing I do want to mention in terms of SEC play is I don't have any connection to the school whatsoever, but oh my goodness, Texas A&M is just absolutely on a tear, and they did have a good non-conference. They did not do well in non-conference at all. They've been making the SEC look like a playground right now with 1 loss only.
They've got Iowa State coming in. Iowa State, ranked 12 in the AP poll right now. I mean, that's one where it's hard for me to pick against Missouri. I feel like they've just been rocking and rolling. I mean, goodness. They're playing at home too. 11-2 at home on the season.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one for them.
Yeah. Arkansas's got Baylor in the Big 12 Challenge, so hopefully Keenan isn't too right about Baylor being one of the better dark horse teams, because that could be a tough L for us for sure, but we'll see.
That'll be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, that would be a good game. Sorry for that one. We're hoping Oklahoma, hopefully the Sooners can get the job done and knock off Bama.
Although it doesn't help you for SEC standings, but it does help you for seeding.
Yeah, it does.
I think the seeding would maybe be the biggest part of that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma is currently in the first 4 out, so team, but basketball is a crazy sport.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say also is if y'all did not already see, audience and y'all too, if y'all did not see Amani Bates 29 straight points. I know they're bad. Eastern Michigan, they took the L, but it was ridiculous. Like, it reminds me of why Amani Bates was seen as the next Kevin Durant. I don't believe he's that at all, but I do think he has a bright future ahead of him if he can stay out of trouble. If he can stay out of trouble, right.
He can come play in Happy Valley any day he likes.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very talented player, and obviously was ranked that high for a reason when you watch him play, especially the success he's even had there. I wonder what his future looks like.
Hmm.
Yeah, do we want to get into a little NFL?
Yeah.
Dabble in it.
Unless y'all have any final thoughts on some college basketball.
Yeah, let's talk football now. With
Yeah, I
with
want
possibly a brief step-sing preview, and then that'll probably be it.
to. Well, yeah, we got obviously the conference championships this weekend. You know, we have the AFC with the Chiefs and the Bengals, another rematch with Joey B and Patty Mahomes, and the Bengals honestly do own the Chiefs. I believe they're 3-0 against them as of a few years, and all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes has a little injury, and the Bengals look unstoppable, and you kind of wonder how in the world they're going to lose, at least in my opinion. And I'm not necessarily the biggest Bengals fan. They have owned the Titans in the past, especially in the last year's playoffs. Brutal loss, which caused the crumple of our franchise to firing our general manager and getting rid of AJ Brown. But here we are. Good for the Bengals. It's hard to root against Joey B and Shamar and T. Higgins and those boys, man. They're some dogs. Definitely they got a little cockiness to their game, but kind of every good team and players got to have some of that. So that's one where, for me, if Mahomes has any linger of that injury, I think the Bengals win that game.
I'm feeling the same way. I'm feeling the same way, and I'm feeling like with what history has had, I think even if he's feeling a little better, I would still give the edge to Cincy.
It's hard.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like they're going back to that humility point. There's a lot of maybe hotheads that still remain in these playoffs. But I won't say that I've personally seen it as much. I know Copeland, in his view, has said that Jalen Hurts is an incredibly cocky guy. He loves to talk about that. But
and to Copeland's point, well, maybe we'll even have him on next week to discuss the results of these games. Yeah, he's one of the biggest LSU fans out there. So, he's a Bengals fan, basically. I could have just said he's a Bengals fan. You could have probably guessed that. And, I mean, if Joe Burrow shot him, man, he'd probably be able to find a way to defend. Things where, you love your team. I respect it, but LSU and Bengals fans, they see no slight with how their team, they dance all over the place. Give me a break, man. Give me a break.
I agree. I do agree. With all that being said, I think I would take the Bengals right now.
And then I would probably, it's hard to. Honestly, two very good games. I'm pretty excited about both these games, maybe more than I've been excited about two championship games in a while. Other than like the Bills and Chiefs a few years ago, which was one of the best games ever. But you got the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC. A game where they're going to have to go to Philadelphia, San Francisco with a rookie quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant. And gosh, with one of, in my opinion, the most solid rosters of all time with the 49ers, just some dogs on that team. I mean, they traded for CMC midseason, and he has just been a monster. Two starting caliber running backs with obviously CMC, and then Elijah Mitchell's really good. And then their main
Debo.
Focal point, Debo, and then the defense. The defense is just incredible. That's getting a tight one. It's hard to call. Philadelphia's just been on a mad run this year.
It's going to come down, in my opinion, to Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, if he can limit the turnovers and play a solid game, they're just too talented of a team to not win that ball game. If he starts making some mistakes and gets flustered in Philadelphia, the weather, Green Bay has always said that. That's always been a topic of conversation. Don't go to Green Bay in the winter or in the postseason because it's going to be freezing, and it hasn't affected other teams. So I'm not sure how much of a selling point that can be for Philadelphia to win. But yeah, I think it comes down to quarterback play, and can Brock Purdy play like he's continued to play this last 7-8 games of the season.
Absolutely.
It'd be two road teams possibly winning, with the Bengals and 49ers possibly being seen as the hotter teams, as Keenan loves, the hot teams. I guess 49ers haven't really lost in a while. So, that is something to think about.
not to sidetrack us here from the NFC, but I'm going to share my screen here with a little AFC thing I found. Oh, I cannot share. Bummer, I can't share my screen. Well, that's okay. I was going to show the last 10 AFC championship QB matchups. And just to put it in a little perspective, Pat Mahomes has been in the last 5 AFC championship games. And the 5 before that were all Tom Brady.
Wow.
So it's something to be valued right now, as we might be witnessing history with Pat Mahomes. I mean, it's just, as you look at this picture, and I'll send it to you guys, it's just like, gosh, it's all Pat Mahomes, and before him was all Tom Brady. He's doing some incredible things, and it's crazy how many times the Chiefs have made it to the AFC Championship game. But it's gonna be fun to see another matchup of Burrow and Mahomes.
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, needless to say, with my hot take about Tom Brady and part 1, that the quarterback position is easily the most valued in all of football. And if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're probably not going to have long-term success. So I don't know. I think if I had to pick, I would go Bengals and 49ers to start the weekend to head to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
That's what I want to happen. I think I might want to even pick it just because I want it to happen. But yeah, I have my doubts, but just for wanting it to happen, I'll agree with you on that. I am pulling for the Bengals just for the sake of history. Haven't won a Super Bowl. It's just fun. It's just fun when you get things like that.
Yeah,
I know it's not for you, Hank. I'm sorry, but it's okay.
I'm trying not to let, and I'm almost opposite of Graham. I do not want to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
I do want to see the Bengals. I'm all team Bengals. Love to see Joe back, and I do like their squad that they have there. So I'm trying to not let my feelings towards the 49ers, kind of block my vision of who's the better team and who's actually going to win. I still think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are clicking on all cylinders right now. I know he was kind of battling some injuries, but man, they looked good last Sunday or last Saturday, and I think they're a force to be reckoned with. I think they're going to be tough to beat on Sunday.
Now the question would be, is that NFC Championship game possibly at this point the 2 best teams? I'm just wondering, is that the 2 best? Is that maybe even the championship game? And maybe I'm a little bold there, but as of right now, with these teams and the seasons that they put together, pushing towards the finish line, and including, of course, Keenan, you said last game, could those actually be the 2 best teams? And of course, it's not the Super Bowl, but could it almost be the Super Bowl in the sense of it being the top 2?
I think it's tough to keep Andy Reid out of that conversation, and the Chiefs. I don't know. They're all really great teams. I think that's a tough argument. And I don't know, Hank, maybe you have some different thoughts on that. I think they're all really good.
This is going to be a bit of a weird take, but whoever listens to this will get used to this, and you guys know. I think if the Bengals make it, I think the NFC opponent wins, 49ers or Eagles. I think if the Chiefs make it, I think it could be a toss-up game. That's what I would say.
Wow. So you think Bengals lose back-to-back if they make it?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. I think the other team is just so they're just so good.
So in that sense, you're saying the NFC is better though. These 2 NFC teams are better, kind of.
Yeah. I would say both of the NFC teams. The 2 NFC teams right now are overall better than the 2 AFC teams right now. These 2 teams where they're at right now. Yeah.
So do you agree with me or no?
Wait, remind me exactly.
That the Eagles and the 49ers are the top 2 teams.
It's a good argument.
I would say yes. This season. I think either team would be. I don't know exactly how you put a comparative point on it, but I do think they're both so strong this season. The Eagles have had one of the best seasons can't remember the last time they was getting the season. And then the 49ers are just that team, man. They have so many good players. It's hard to say that the quality is not better than both AFC teams.
There you go. There you have it. Shout out to the NFC Championship game. Well, we'll see if it actually remains close. It'd be kind of laughable if that one ends up being lopsided. But I believe if it is lopsided, I would probably say if it's lopsided, it probably means the Eagles won. But maybe it's wrong.
Yeah. No, it's and just to add, either way, I picked the Bengals, but it would go against my take of last season after the season ended. And this is a take for the rest of the Joe Burrow's future, that Joe Burrow would never return to a Super Bowl. I did say that after last year, and he is one step away from already defeating my my take. So in a way, I hope that doesn't happen, because then I want my take to live on. But also, he's very easily could do it on Saturday. So we will see what happens.
Yeah, possibly a repeat Super Bowl of 2020 as well. Is that correct with Chiefs and Niners? Right?
Yeah,
it'll be a repeat. Sorry, is it 2020?
2019.
19, I think so, right?
Yeah.
So
it's gonna
be wild. All right. Any other thoughts on the NFL? Okay.
Not currently. Excited though.
We'll just say for next week, we have a beautiful treat for you. You see the screen here. This weekend is Step Sing. It is a long 72 years in the making tradition, rich in history and rich in rivalry, perhaps more intense rivalries than even those of sports, as if you pull out the Yodel app during the week of Step Sing, you will see absolute people getting put on blast, which, I'm not saying I'm a fan of, but it is just a fact of the matter. And so we just want to say that's something to be looking out for. If you have no idea what we're talking about, it's a 72-year Samford tradition. All of these Greek and independent organizations putting together 60 to 80 people singing and dancing on this grid to a bunch of different songs. It is a beautiful sensation. And not even to brag, but we are alum of the defending national champions. I'll just say national. I probably should just say Step Sing champions, but it's going to be interesting, man. I will say a couple storylines for us to consider. Potential back-to-backs for PyCap, and the start of a potential dynasty. There's question marks there. As sad as it pains me to say, and it's no shade by any means, but also this is a chance for Sigma Chi to keep a streak alive of placing. All three shows that we were there in an undergrad to see, they had placed at least, and so they have a chance to continue that streak. And to be honest, that's pretty impressive to be able to put out a winning show each year. But you also have wonders of, will certain groups that have not had success in the past rise to the occasion, or will we see some groups that have been amazing, fall way below their expectations? So, I think, we could talk about a lot about those details, but there are some interesting storylines to consider as we look forward to the next few nights of Step Sing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm excited.
Me too. Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, some storylines. I think one of the craziest ones is, I want to see some just craziness. And I say craziness because no women's group other than 80 Pi has won since 2006. No women's group, just 80 Pi since 2006.
Wow.
We need to see absolutely electric women's performances. That's what I would love to see. It would be a lot. I would love the competition, because I don't know if y'all knew this. I actually am breaking this news right now to y'all, and I just forgot. I didn't think to tell you. They have dropped men's and women's placing. It's a 1, 2, 3 placing now.
That's huge. Back to the old model, which I believe is better.
100% better.
Oh, it's way better. Way better.
Wow.
More controversy.
Albeit though, definitely an advantage to guys though. So that is a wonder.
Exactly what I was thinking. That would be very controversial. I do want to see the more competition from the women's groups, but honestly, I hate to say it, but I think a few of the years that we are at Samford, we were able to participate in 3 Step Sings. I think we would have seen at least once, maybe twice, all 3 groups place would be men's groups. And Yeah, I think last year probably would be maybe an example of that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
Because
think last year would maybe a stretch. I would have said our sophomore year, yes. Our
Okay.
sophomore year, yes.
Who would have been the third or sophomore year?
I just think that'd be tough. I just know that there was a lot of controversy there, and I just don't want to be rude by any means. I think there was no standout for me personally out of girls in general that year. But you got to give credit where credit's due. 85 got the job done. They are a dynasty in the making. They're not even a dynasty in the making. They're just a step-sing dynasty as far as women's are concerned. You have to give credit where credit's due. They get the job done. They are elite. And they're in a league of their own when it comes to female groups. But I do like this breakdown going back to 2017, right? The podium finish where it's just 1, 2, 3. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I maybe spoke a little too soon with 1 to 2 being men's groups. More I thought about it, even last year's performances, I think it probably was good. I think I started thinking about the dudes at Plenty Snub. In my opinion, I think that they would have been one of those top 3, and it's for we don't need to get too
into it, but they should have won, guys, for sure.
And they should have. And let's be honest, they should have. And that makes you really wonder, what would it have looked like with the 1, 2, 3 seeding? I mean, would they even have been top 3? I mean, if that would have been the case, you would have seen, I mean, oh gosh, cars would have been flipped and quad. We would have seen that, people ripping doors off of the UC. I mean, you couldn't even imagine the mayhem you would have witnessed after something like that. And
oh man,
so I'm excited, man. That's some competition and some big controversy.
Yes. Yes. Last storyline I just want to throw in, and I want to let Keenan talk after this, but dudes aplenty is just in a funk as far as Stepson goes. They were the men's division winner in 2018. And then before that, last sweepstakes win was 2016. Beautiful show, by the way, Boy Scouts. Got to give credit where credit's due. That's a pioneering show of sorts. This is the issue. The snub last year is frustrating because I think it would have been this mark of a foothold, if you will, something to hold their hat, hang their hat on and say, we're back on the podium. Could we be back? Could we be back? Are we back on the podium? Could we be back? They had a star-studded director crew last year, very, solid public figures in the Samford campus, friends of ours. Also must add, they were incredibly polite to us throughout the entire show. So I really wanted to respect them in that way. I feel bad for them. And so seeing them get in the top 3 would be satisfying to me. And obviously I'm biased. I want Pie Cap to go 1, but seeing dudes go 2, I would not be mad at. I would not be mad at all. I think they've deserved with the work they put in, and especially with last year's snub, they deserve to be there.
Agreed. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's themes this year and who produces. It's all fun to talk about what you want to project on a team or on a squad, but they gotta go out there and perform it and sing it. And
based on costumes and themes alone, this is a crew that hadn't won in a while. But Chi Omega, man, they are zombies this year, and costumes are elite. The costumes are elite at least. And so if the directing is there, if the soundtrack is there, if the choreo, I mean, there's so many elements to consider. I mean, you've got to be good musically. You've got to be able to put it together choreographically. There's just so many elements, but with that theme idea, they have big time upside. Definitely could have a low floor as well, but a really high ceiling, with a theme idea like that.
And just as we're finishing, I have Step Sing live on my screen over here, and it's live right now.
Wow. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be talking about it Saturday night. Results come out. We're gonna talk about what the results are. We're gonna report the facts, but we're gonna argue. I have yet. Well, that's not true. Last year was controversial. There was some other controversy sophomore year. I was probably okay with freshman year. There's a lot to argue about with podium finishes, and especially now that it's top 3 and not girls and guys, there's gonna be some talking points. So we're gonna look at not dissing or trashing any shows, but definitely wanting to bring attention to those that get snubbed and talk about maybe some weird bias from the judge that possibly confusingly puts a team in the top 3 or a group in the top 3 that we don't necessarily agree with.
Agreed. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, boys. I can't wait to break it down next week. And do we want to be a little wild and kind of, we have no basis for this, but do we want to possibly pick a winner?
Man, I feel like from the PyCap audience, I'm going to say that we can do the back-to-back, especially with our director crew, man. Our director crew is back and better than ever. These are directors who are amazing. All right. They are, and that matters. All right. I completely believe directors matters. Our directors last year were phenomenal, elite. We win. Sigma Chi caveman directors were elite. They win. I can't necessarily testify to 80 Pi. I didn't know them at the time, but I'm sure they were elite. This is a director crew that can get the job done, and it's a team. It is a group. It's a fraternity that has the blood of winners. All right, we have the blood of winners. We are hanging this trophy up, and if we go back to back, I mean, I want the target to be on our back, and I think we can do it. But just for the sake of throwing a girl in the top three, let's get number one PyCap, number two dudes, and number three Kyo. I don't think it could happen, but I think with the zombies, they can get that podium finish.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not opposed to any of that right there. I'd have to see the song choices as well with the zombies. What type of songs?
We have some ties though to some sororities technically, so I didn't know if that was a factor by any means, but
well, you don't want the bias to come in, Graham.
No bias, of course. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and let the bias come in. I would say I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the hometown pick. I think PyCap goes back to back. I think the just the glimpse I've seen of these young men in their wizard costumes, they look like they've embodied those wizards. They look like they've gone to sleep in them. They brushed their teeth in those costumes. They've gone to class in them. Anything you can imagine. They literally have become method actors in the wizarding world. So we're excited to see it. I would, I got to give a shout out to Zeta. They're the Barbies this year.
Zarbies, right?
Sorry?
Zarbies, right?
They're the Zarbies, and it would be a disservice to not mention them. A little bias there as well, but as much as I would like to see Kyo there, I kind of think it's going to be Zeta or 80 Pi placing as kind of the history shows. So I would go PyCap, dudes, and then
we're going dudes. You're going dudes. Dudes is in there.
Dudes too, and I'm going to put Zeta number 3 again. They're going to go two in a row, winning. I guess it's not girls anymore. I would just put them 3.
I will say, wouldn't be surprised to see Sigma Chi there as well with musical talent and director experience. I can't speak to it. I just don't know much about it, but wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think not knowing a ton about this year's directors and just going off of history and the information I am aware of, gonna have to go back to back for the boys.
Let's go! Come on!
You got to.
Hometown.
You gotta speak it into existence for the boys, and they just want it more. And I think that's determining factor.
The other groups do not want it as much as us. They do not have the desire. They don't have the
No. And then I'm going to go on a limb here and say I think Sigma Chi is going to finish second, close second. I think they're going to have another great show. I think they have a small little dynasty going here. Winning 2 years ago, finishing second or third, however you want to place it last year. I think they're going to have another great show this year. And then, honestly, I think third's a toss-up between, either Kyo or with the zombies or an 80 Pi. That's why.
But not dudes for you. You're not smelling blood in the water.
Not smelling the roses with the dudes. And they could come in and throw something in there. I just think there's some momentum around some other organizations that you feed off of previous years excitement and leadership, and I think that has a part in everything.
Well, I appreciate the analytics. I know for Kyo, they definitely have the creativity nod when they won creativity last year. So they
truckers, baby.
They have that aspect, with truckers, right? So that creativity there.
Truckers. It's it was creative, sure. They got that. They got the creativity. just be prepared next week, boys. I'm gonna be coming in with the hot takes and the arguments because, look, sometimes you got to say some things that might be willing to offend some people. And you're not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I'm gonna say how it is. If a show places and it's crap.
Just say it's not your favorite, and we know that you didn't think it was the best.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna be maybe this may be lying to our viewers, but maybe we'll be dropping our rankings from number 1 to last step sync shows. And that may be a rankings episode we might have to do next week. We've never done that, but going 1 all the way down to.
Though, to be honest, I just don't want to step on too many toes, but maybe top 10. Maybe top 10.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a top 10. We'll do a top 10. We'll agree. Can we agree on that, game?
Top 10 at least. Okay.
That's fine. That's great with me.
Unless, never mind. Like I said, top 10. And we'll do top 10.
Anyway, I'll be taking notes
on the shows.
Oh yeah,
we need to.
No, I'm planning on
Saturday night. I'll be taking notes. Tomorrow I'm gonna be there live, but Saturday I'll be taking notes live.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I will not be live, but I'll be using my my computer screen to watch.
Yeah.
Good.
I will be with Graham tomorrow night. We're gonna be able to watch that. We're gonna have a little bit of maybe possibly might be a little because some of this action we're sitting next to each other, a little whispering about the shows, a little embarrassing moment. You
gotta figure out which show to go to the bathroom during, those types of things.
Yeah. Use your resources.
Yeah, we will. All right, boys. Well, this has been the TBD podcast. Graham Averett, Hank Hayes, Keenan Street Matter. We're out here doing this thing.
Episode 1 in the books.
It was a pleasure.
All right.
Loved it. Enjoyed it. See y'all next week.
Peace out.
Peace.